Good afternoon, parents. This is the parent update for October the 16th. This is Mary Keenley, the principal of St. Theresa School. To start out, just a quick heads up about some changes that we have made in the calendar. Please note the following changes. There will be no school on Monday, November the 2nd or Monday, January the 4th. No school for students. Coming up, it's the Monday after Halloween. We will not have school. These are now going to be Teacher Institute days, so there will be no school for students. There will also be no remote learning on these days, as the teachers will be engaged in an in-service on this day. So mark your calendar, November 2nd, January 4th, no school for students. Earlier in the week, the Archdiocese informed you about a possible change during the Thanksgiving and Christmas seasons to the calendar. We are awaiting, like you, further guidance on this from the Archdiocese. We were informed this morning that this guidance would come late next week. I know the rumors are flying, but we do not have an answer on this. So like me, you're going to have to be patient until next week when we receive the information from the Archdiocese. I will be publishing an update later next week as soon as this information comes in, letting you know what the Archdiocese is saying about this period of time between Thanksgiving and Christmas and how we're going to be handling it here at St. Theresa School. So thank you for your patience, and we'll touch back again later next week about the Thanksgiving to Christmas period of time. Couple updates on health and safety here at the school. We have been very pleased with our new health and safety team. This is a team consisting of parents and staff who are looking at the school building, helping make sure that we follow our policies and preventing us from drifting off the guidelines that we have set up in order to keep us all safe and healthy during this COVID time. They are an independent body. I am not part of this team. And they have already done a great job of inspecting the building, of surveying teachers and speaking with small groups of teachers, and very soon beginning to talk to groups of parents about health and safety here at St. Theresa. They've also done an excellent job at beginning to identify issues and developing action plans so that these issues can be remediated and everything stays up to code the entire time we are part of COVID. Thank you very much for the generosity of these parents and staff members to take on this extra duty, and I really am grateful for the work that you are doing keeping us all safe here at St. Theresa. A little reminder about calling in an absence this year in particular. When you call in, whether you call in via telephone on the absence line or you use the absence note on the website, please be sure you are indicating the reason why you are keeping your child home with symptoms. Please do not just say my child is sick. Please indicate headache, runny nose, sore throat, whatever the case may be. Indicate the symptoms. Please also indicate whether or not you are going to be COVID testing and give the date of the COVID test. And if you are calling in a child sick, please, we ask you to keep the siblings home. You've done an excellent job of doing this, and we know it causes extra stress on you, and we appreciate that extra step that you are taking in order to keep us all healthy. If you have any questions about your child's symptoms, whether they should stay home from school, how long they should stay home, any of that, please reach out right away to Mrs. Montree and she will walk you through the whole process. Remember, every single call is different, and so don't assume that the answers are straightforward, and don't be afraid of calling. We're in this together and we're all working together to keep everybody healthy. Parents, you've been raising questions about mask breaks. And just to clarify some things and also to quell a little rumor flying around, mask breaks are taken at regular intervals throughout the day based on the kids' schedules. Because of this, they look different in every single classroom. Not every child takes the same break at the same time every day, and even within a grade level, one teacher might take it at one time and another at another, but they are being taken at regular intervals. In addition, students are at various locations on the campus. We are using all 5 doors on the campus to get in and out of the building. The goal is that the mask breaks are quick. They're quick reliefs, quick breaths of fresh air, little breaks, and then back to work we go. So we are using all the different locations on the campus. One rumor I would like to quash is that middle school is not taking mass breaks. That is false. It's incorrect. Middle school is taking mass breaks. We did have to revise the use of the front of the building a little bit because we were driving the neighbors nuts. And so, but they are taking mass breaks. You can be assured of this. If you have any questions or if your child is telling you they don't get a break all day, please don't hesitate to call your child's homeroom teacher and clarify this. Please also note that mass breaks will change as the weather changes. We're going to be losing the tents in the cold weather, and if it's pouring rain, we won't be going outside. But there will still be mass breaks. They're just going to look a little bit different as the weather gets colder. Also regarding health and safety, for 2021, St. Teresa's is a nut-free school building, which means that no one should be bringing in any items with peanuts or tree nuts, especially into the teaching classrooms. What this means for you is no peanut butter, no Nutella, things like that for lunch. And we know it's a real pain. But the benefit of this is it keeps everybody healthy. In addition to the children that have known peanut or tree nut allergies, this age group is ripe for developing these allergies or these allergies showing up. It's not something we want to have happen at school. You want to keep your kids safe. So we are avoiding peanuts and tree nuts this year. Next year, when we're back in the O'Brien and eating lunch as regular, we will return to our nut-sensitive guidelines, which we can do safely in the O'Brien. If you have any questions about peanut allergies or how to send your child's lunch to school, please contact Mrs. Montre and she will walk you through it. I also wanted to update you on what's going on with ventilation and air quality now that we are starting to close windows and turning the heat on. Because of the HVAC units and the central air and heating that we have in the building, we have the ability to have constant air circulation. That until the temperature drops below 25 degrees, we will have outside fresh air being brought into the classrooms at all times between 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day. The stated goal is to cycle the classroom air at least twice an hour. Our standards are, and the HVAC equipment that we have is higher than this, and then the full air is being circulated more than twice an hour when the blowers are on. Because, however, that we will have both the heat and the outside air being brought in, our room temperatures are going to be cooler than normal. Normally, our temperatures sit anywhere between 68 and 72 degrees. This year, the classrooms are going to sit more likely in that 67, 68 degree range. Because of this, please be sure that your child is properly uniformed. Make sure that your child has a uniform fleece or uniform sweater in order to keep warm. We encourage your child to wear a long sleeve polo shirt and possibly even wear a white turtleneck or white t-shirt underneath the polo if they want that extra layer of warmth. It is going to be a little chilly, but the uniform should cover your child no problem. Questions have been raised about travel over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. Please note that according to policy, that you will be subject to an automatic 14-day quarantine if you do any of the following. First, if you travel to a high-risk state as identified by the IDPH. These are the states that are in purple on the map. If you travel to these states and you are staying longer than 24 hours, meaning you're not just driving through the state, you will be automatically subject to a 14-day quarantine. In addition, if you choose to travel to any resort or theme park type location, when you return, you will quarantine for 14 days. This includes places like the Dells, the Disney parks, etc. And the reason is that although you are not technically in a high-risk state, although Wisconsin will be, you are around high-risk people that entire time and working in a situation that is impossible to maintain the cleanliness of. So that will result in a 14-day quarantine. In addition, any international travel, and this does include both Canada and Mexico, as well as any cruises, result in an automatic 14-day quarantine upon return to the state of Illinois. If you are choosing to travel this holiday season, please be sure that you are including the quarantine days in your plans. So be sure you tack on those extra 14 calendar days after you return to Illinois. We ask that you, if you choose to travel, please also make plans ahead of time for remote learning when you return. Please notify your child's teacher before you leave on your trip that your child will be quarantining for 14 days, And please be sure your child brings home his or her books and any school supplies so that learning can resume and become normal right away, even though your child is quarantining. Please note that you also may be subject to possible quarantines under the following situations. If you are in extended contact with individuals from high-risk states or from outside of the United States, you could be subject to a quarantine. And we bring this up because this basically centers on college students. The college kids are returning home for the holidays, and many of them will be home for that whole range of time between around November 25th or so, all the way through about January 15th. Contact with these individuals could result in a quarantine for your child as far as St. Theresa is concerned. Please contact Mrs. Montre if you have any questions about this. It is not an automatic quarantine, it's a possible quarantine based on what your child has experienced in college. You could also be subject to a possible quarantine through travel or contact with a sports team. If a member on your sports team pops, you could be subject to quarantine because of that. Of course, if you travel to a high-risk location, you are automatically quarantined with your sports team. If you choose to participate in activities or groups that are larger than 50 people, you run the risk of a quarantine. Again, please don't hesitate to contact Mrs. Montre if you have any questions or you want to work through a situation to understand what you should do next. She loves these calls and she's very happy to take the calls and help work with you to decide what's best for the health and safety of everyone. From our perspective, we are asking you to please consider postponing travel this holiday season. We are very aware of what we're asking you when we ask you this. We know that many of you need the break and the break that travel and vacations give you from the stress of your day-to-day jobs. And we also know that for many of you, this is the only time you get to see grandparents, and that will be very hard. But we do ask you to give it due consideration, and if it's at all possible, postpone your travel this holiday season for the health of your family and for the health of everybody here in the family of St. Theresa. More important than anything right now on the kids' minds is the upcoming Halloween season. Our student council, along with the Parents Association room parents, are going to be coordinating Halloween for the school this year. First of all, student council will be offering a special lunch option for the day from Bona Beef. Watch for information coming on that on ordering in the upcoming days. We will also be having parties here at school with some stipulations on them. Most importantly, please do not send any food-based treats to share. We are not allowed to bring in food products or to share food items regardless of how they are coming. They're pre-wrapped or ordered, it doesn't matter. We're not allowed to bring in any treats from families this year. You, of course, are allowed, and I do encourage you that when you make your child's snack or lunch, maybe put a special treat in the lunch that day so that it is a little bit festive for your child. If you want to participate and you want to send something, please reach out to your room parent and ask how you can cooperate with the room plans for the day. But please do not send treats to share. Regarding costumes, because of the changing and the washrooms and the help that the younger kids need getting in and out of costumes, we are decided that there will be no full costumes at school this year, and of course no parade, and that's not allowed according to the guidelines. However, as a compromise, we're going to kind of split it down the middle. For the day, coming the entire day when your child comes to school, he or she has 3 options. Your child may wear their regular school uniform if they choose. Your child may wear jeans and a Halloween sweatshirt or Halloween t-shirt, or your child may wear their jeans along with the top part of their costume. You know, the Spider-Man top, for the Spider-Man costume, or the tiara from the princess costume, or whatever the case may be. But keeping your child in the jeans on the bottom and something that they can take on and off by themselves. If your child is choosing to do this, please be sure that there is something else on underneath, because as you know, these costumes can get hot and they can get itchy, and the little ones don't always like to keep them on for long periods of time. So jeans on the bottom, just the top parts of the costume, so the child at least can participate a little bit and then has control over the costumes, and we don't run into issues with social distancing. Regardless of what your child wears, please remember that regular masks must be worn. The 3-ply cloth or paper masks must be worn, and they cannot be substituted for parts of the costume. At home, We would like you to consider not allowing your child to trick or treat this year. With all the health and safety guidelines that we have here at school and all the hard work that you are doing and we are doing and the teachers are doing here at school, trick-or-treating does not make a lot of sense at this point in time. Again, it is a parental decision. We're simply expressing our opinion here, but we do encourage you to say, you know what, this year we're not going to be trick-or-treating. We're just going to be celebrating at home this year. But stay tuned for 2021, which is going to be a whole different ball game, and tons of trick-or-treating will be available a year from now. Thank you for considering this and taking a strong stance and not going trick-or-treating this year. Couple quick reminders as we end up here. Questions are coming up again about remote learning. The easiest way to understand remote learning is to connect it with quarantine. Remote learning is something you do when you're quarantined. Not when you're homesick, not when you have to go somewhere, but when you are quarantined. If you are homesick or you get kept homesick because you have a sibling who is sick or awaiting test results, if you're in grades K through 5, it's just a regular sick day. You get your work, you do your work at home. You are not eligible to participate in remote learning. Now here's where it gets a little confusing. Middle school can remote learn. Now, why? Why do we have two different policies? It's very simple. The middle schoolers know how to do it. They learn like this every single day of the year. They're in a blended platform right now. They hop on and off technology. They know the platforms, and the teachers are addressing it the entire time they're in school. It is not a problem for your child to hop on and off if they're in middle school. We simply ask that they show their teachers the courtesy of informing them, I'm homesick today. I will be hopping into the remote class today. Grades K through 5, not as able to do this. And so we only use remote learning with grades K through 5 when they are officially quarantined. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate. Reach out to your child's teacher, and your child's teacher will help you. And then just another quick reminder about outside dress. It looks like we had an early spring, looks like we're getting an early winter on top of it. There actually is snow in the forecast for next week, and it was 37 degrees this morning when the kids got to school. Again, please be sure your child has the proper uniform sweaters or fleece, and remember that they may wear a white t-shirt or white turtleneck underneath their polo shirt as part of the uniform. For outside, be sure your child has an appropriate coat, hats, gloves, etc., and please make sure that everything is labeled. Dress warm because we are going outside. For everything from recess to mask breaks, we need to be outside in the fresh air, getting those masks off in order to rejuvenate and get back into the building and learn. Now, parents, if you are the parent of a teenager and your teenager is giving you a hard time about their coat, please don't add any stress to yourself. They are perfectly fine not wearing a coat, but they're going to be cold. If the weather gets dangerous, then we will clamp down here at school and help you out. But in the meantime, you don't have to fight with your child about wearing a coat. Your child will, however, be accountable for his or her decision, and they will have to go outside and freeze. That's the best way for these guys to learn about wearing a coat, and they will comply, and when they need to, they'll actually wear the coat. Okay? Any questions about this, please ask Mrs. Montree, because we like to keep Mrs. Montree very busy. Well, thank you again for listening, and thank you also for all the questions that you have brought both to the school and to your Parents Association. It helps us communicate more effectively, and it helps us know what your understanding is of things. I hope you have a great weekend. Look forward to my presentation again next week, later in the week sometime, where I give you an update from the Archdiocese of Chicago. Have a great weekend, everybody.